As OKW, you have Jesulin. In the west, his opponent, Luvnest, as the Soviets. This is Samoski Winter. This is a tournament final. I'm AE and I'm here with Dan, or Stormless. Hi, Dan.
Hey guys, how's it going? And yeah, as you say, absolutely incredible game coming up here right now. I just need to make a very, very quick point. We've jumped straight into this game, and Loveness has not picked Armored Assault yet, which means he's probably. Oh no,
Speak
there
of
we
the
go. He's
devil.
just picked it now, so he is going to be trying to make use of the radio intercept. Not sure why he didn't do that straight away, because obviously he probably would have wanted to know what the first unit was, which is in fact a Kubal. I'm pretty sure he will have missed that call right now. Hopefully that doesn't affect what his teching is going to be.
It's going to be a late game choice. He's against OKW, however. OKW can be hyper strong in the early game. Nice bit of barbed wire coming in front of the door there. What were the results of the poll, by the way, Dan?
Well, we have 61.5% of people believe that Lovenest is going to storm this game against Jesulin.
Oh, and he made.
So it's a pretty big number.
Jesus Christ, I mean, there's not much faith in one of the best tournament players the game has ever seen in Jesulin there, but Luvnest has been on a tear recently, and Jesulin arguably has been a little bit off the boil. So you see these two players at different kind of points in their cycle. And Luvnest in the ascendancy, Jesulin is faltering a little bit recently, but he's always dangerous as the Spaniard, and be watching him very closely in this game indeed.
Yeah, well, hopefully, we hope to see a good game. I think the pressure is going to be very, very much on Jeslin here, especially if he does, what we saw in the last game, what we saw in week one, where he lost against Barton, was really losing that kind of flexibility that he was actually known for, in adjusting to build orders. And if anybody's going to throw him some curveballs, it will be Lovenest. He needs to not stick with one strategy if he's going to beat Lovenest, because actually Lovenest is probably a little more akin to adapting at the moment.
Luvnest is all about being so ridiculously strategically aware. So he could punish Jesulin here with a build that counters.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he is playing something that's regarded as strong at the moment anyway, with the Maxims. So, hopefully he's going to be relying on his micro to take advantage of what is a natural advantage there. Really nice that he's occupied that house on the eastern side as well. Looks like he's trying to cut off both fuels in the early game for Jerusalem.
Very strong garrison there next to the fuel. Equally important engagement here with Volksgrenadiers and the Kubelwagen pushing away. That's going to endeavour to force Luvnest to spend 250 manpower on getting healing. That is, if the conscripts make it out of there alive with the Kubelwagen in pursuit.
Jesulin tries to get that house on the strategic cutoff for Luvnest. He is going to be met with a Maxim. Looks like the Kubel's coming in as well. Trying to deal some shots there. Great play by Jesulin.
Maxim repositions. Will it get the killing blows in on the Kubel? It will not. And you've got Volksgrenadiers putting heavy fire down on the machine gun.
I don't think he's noticed. He's going to lose the Maxim.
That's a big loss, you know.
Yeah, I'm really shocked that he didn't notice that. Maybe he thought he pressed retreat and he didn't. He's also got another Maxim dangerously close to dying on the northern retreat point as well. So, came undone very, very quickly.
And that may mean, Dan, that Jesulin does not have to go Luftwaffe ground forces that you so commonly see in these high tiers of play. Now he has a Maxim in his possession.
Yeah, I mean, it's a potential. I think the Luftwaffe are going to be strong on a map like this anyway. Obviously,
Yes.
he wants to avoid the tripwire mines and probably get those Luftwaffe out as quick as possible. But that one Maxim's a pretty big loss for Lovenest. It's really surprised that happened.
People are saying, is this GG or a fake game? I can confirm this is definitely the real game, the real McCoy. It's just that Luvnest is currently being battered by his long-time rival and opponent, Jesulin, in this particular case. But he's by no means out. He's had this fuel for a long period. And he's certainly it's all dependent on how he techs from this point and how he pushes off the bridgehead and into the village of Semois.
Definitely, and Mechanized Company going up for Jesulin right now. Again, going to be looking to the same thing that Price did actually, which is pretty interesting. That's going to allow him to utilize the Stern Pioneers on the field rather than keep them back for repairs.
Maxim getting into a strong position, watching over this entry point here. Is it? Well, of course, we'll be able to set up super quickly. Stern Pioneer's pushed away from this fuel point here as well. Stern Pioneer has such low health, it's going to force Battle Group Headquarters, possibly. But no, he's gone for Mechanized. He's not going to be able to heal for a while.
I think maybe been preoccupied with the chat. Yeah, Mechanized has gone up. I was saying it's pretty much a repeat of what we saw Price do, is use the Mechanized so that his Stern Pioneers can have more field presence. But map is all over the place at the moment. You've got both players really trying to find their feet on the map. There's a lot of low health squads. Kubel and these Volksgrenadiers trying to get control of the left-hand side, and it looks like that's going to be the direction that Jesulin picks. Also, we're starting to see the mines going down on the this house that's covering the fuel point on the east. So Luvnest is still a pretty good kind of hold on the map, but the big things we've seen in most of these games is trying to stop Luvnest getting that early tier 3 out. And one way of doing that, of course, negating the fuel and trying to get those those powerful cutoffs. So he's doing a good job of that, I would have said, but I just don't think it's been enough so far to stop that tier 3, and we're probably going to see T70 come out soon.
Conscripts taking a strong position behind the heavy cover tractor there. They're going to keep that victory point for a while. Elsewhere, you've got Maxims on the march. You've got Luvnest basically trying to force his way back into the agenda here. The flamethrower on the combat engineers will help him do that, pushing the Volksgrenadiers from the garrison. And elsewhere, you'll notice that Luvnest has managed to cap the entirety of the east. Here, however, comes a Luke's. This is pretty fast, Luke. 7 minutes on the game, right on the field.
Yeah, that is a really fast tech up there, and it's a good job that he's got that as well. It's going to really help him take the right-hand side. Does have to be careful of some of those mines, though, that Luvnest has been planting.
Here comes the Panzer II Luke's ultimate tank in anti-infantry combat. Only about 5 feet tall as well. It's such a small little thing. You must have had to be a small German to pilot one, and in this case a very murderous German, because it's absolutely going to rampage around the battlefield. Great map with plenty of shot blockers, so regardless of the Zis coming on, this Luke's could be a big unit for Jesulin.
Yeah, there's really only 2 units on the field that can provide any kind of snares right now in the conscripts. Looks like the Maxim got a little bit bugged on the retreat path there, trying to chase with the Lukes, but the AT gun from Luvnest is going to get into position quick. So Luvnest is teched up for that correctly. He will meet Jesulin there in the middle.
I wonder what this SWS truck is going to do. Got another Maxim, deja vu again, and Maxim is decrewed. And the Luke says to himself, excellent shot. Very proud of himself there.
Be interesting to bring this out right now. You've got to suggest it's going for a battle grouper, and it's probably going to take place in that classic spot behind this building. Sensible choice. Jesulin absolutely loves to play this tier 1, tier 2 in like all factions. So I wonder what the benefit he's going to get out of this is. Obviously he's going to have healing. He's going to have access to things like the Stuka to deal with the Maxims if he feels that's necessary. But he seems to be wiping a lot of Luvnest Maxims just out of his own skill. He needs to be really careful though with the Lukes. In fact, it looks like a squad got out of this building, so they've already triggered the mine.
Luke's doing great work against this Maxim, but the Zis has found it out of position. Big shot in on the frontal armour. Elsewhere, you've got the battle group. The unit's eagerly awaiting its construction, ready to heal. There you go, the little men with the bandages and the stethoscopes come pouring out of the truck. Kubelwagen getting pushed away. We have a Kessenwurf building. I was just looking for anti-tanks, grenades teched, and they are indeed.
AT needs, yeah, they are teched, and he got one on the Kubel then, so he is chasing it down with the conscripts. There is a Maxim going into this building as well, so it should pick up the Kubel on the retreat. Luvnest not looking as strong at the moment as he looked in previous games. Jesulin's just built a Rakettenwerfer, possibly predicting the early tier 3 again, but if you just look at what Jesulin's doing on the right hand side right now with the Stern Pioneers, he's minesweeping for the Lukes, constantly keeping it safe. This is going to be a big player in the game for him.
Oh, we just had the Kubel go down to a mine, seemingly. Can you confirm?
No. Kubel actually went down to a Maxim over the fuel point on the west. There was a mine on the church actually, which killed a unit then.
The Lukes did just get damaged again by an anti-tank grenade. But Jesulin is in a strong position. However, the story here is Luvnest has rallied himself and has managed to keep trying to cap victory points. He has faltered slightly down to 400, but that would have been a lot worse had he not been so savvy in keeping at least one on the go at any one time. Now it's all about him trying to get rid of the OKW from the centre and getting that central victory point under his control. Fallschirmjägers are an option from here on out for Jesulin, so be on the lookout for Garrison, and that famous Fallschirmjäger pop can be so fatal for Soviet support teams. What a lovely animation on the... you know, since I've had Co in 50 FPS and above, I can now see little things like the grenade spin as it rotates into the... Mate, it's so brilliant. If you can, and you're out there, I highly recommend, you know, breaking your bank balance that you were saving for a mortgage on a house and just buying loads of PC equipment instead, just so you can see the brilliant animations in Co 2. It's so nice.
This still remains the only reason that I invested in a high-quality PC, and I have never regretted it.
No, Co 2 is a beautiful game. It's just a shame it takes so much to get there. Zis is getting into position. The Lukes has just nearly destroyed a Maxim. It is retreating. Stern Pioneers could compromise the Zis's advance. It does attack ground, does miss. We'll have to retreat out of there. Elsewhere, you've got a prolonged engagement with another Maxim, this time pushing away a Volksgrenadier, and also the Kubel is abandoned. Oh, no.
Yeah, I wonder if he gets in it. It should, of course, have some kind of engine damage on it. I mean, he needs to get in that right now. There we go. Does still have the engine damage. It's quite heavy as well. There's two forms of engine damage on it: engine and destroyed engines.
What the hell is this bloody Kubel we're in? That is like a proper old banger. Probably not even worth using. Here comes the Lukes to finish it off. That was just a manpower sink for Luvnest. He probably shouldn't even bothered.
Yeah, I don't think he was watching the engagement when it actually went down, so he probably had to make a bit of a judgment as to what condition it was in when he got in it. But usually the flames coming out of the back of it are a vague idea of what state the vehicle is in.
Luvnest as the Soviet commanders. Get in the car. We need it. But sir, it's burning. Get in. Proper from the campaign kind of thing. Puma's coming onto the field, Dan. Famous 8-wheeled armoured car that looks like something from a dystopian sci-fi novella. Very scary looking AC.
Jesulin's about to get an incendiary nade on the church there, which I just want to point out, Jesulin's doing really, really well to kind of dodge and flank all of these Maxims, because of course Luvnest wants to make sure he has every area covered, and somehow, you know, Jesulin is still managing to you know, plot courses across all the holes in Luvnest's lines. It's really keeping loads of pressure on. In fact, you know, Jesulin's managed to bring out another unit from the mechanized before Luvnest has even managed to hit that tier 3.
What a great game we're being treated to here. We've got battles on 3 fronts. Again, these high-level 1v1s, Dan, almost feel like a 2v2 at times because there's so much going on at any one time. It's really riveting watching.
Yeah, it definitely is, and you can tell that Luvnest is really struggling with Jesulin here. You can tell Jesulin's doing really well because, of course, you know, stopping any form of tier 3 out from Luvnest. We've seen this come from him in every single game so far. It's like the staple point of his strategies. So he must be struggling with the manpower right now. He's having to look for other things to do. He may just go straight for the IS-2 at this rate. He's on 6 CP in 13 minutes. It's perfectly viable that he could make that happen.
Possibly need some tier 3 units to tide him over. He does, however, have...
I mean, yeah, I would disagree if he didn't go tier 3. Maybe he's going to have to climb up to tier 4 quickly, but he's so manpower starved at the moment after everything he's lost. I don't think this fits in with his current build order.
And also, he's got to cap that victory point at some point. Also, you've got to call out the fact he has a mortar. It's just coming on the field right now, so he spent a bit of manpower on that. That will be very good against the battle group headquarters. The story for Luvnest is his Maxim play. He's not spamming them in this game. He is spamming them because he built 3, but it's not like recent proportions. It's just a sensible number, and he did, of course, lose one. But it's a Maxim versus Maxim confrontation here across the garrisons. That was a conscript, my bad. we go. In the centre, we got a bit of a push with these combat engineers with their flamethrower. It's all about trying to cap the central victory point for Luvnest right now, because he's down to 338 and dropping against an opponent that's barely dropped. He's dropped 24, his opponent. So it's a big climb for Luvnest. He's got to get back into that dynamic.
Yeah, he may have an opportunity to start utilising the mortar well here. Retreat point has just been upgraded on the battle grouper right now, so obviously a well-placed mortar there could really start to take some squads, or at least some manpower off of Jesulin. He's still doing good capping. You see him capping on the right-hand side now as well, trying to get that VP lead. But actually, Luvnest has taken a huge VP hit at the start of the game, which is not something he really wants against the the ever-strengthening Axis.
The ever-strengthening Axis, that's a very good way to put it. Of course, the asymmetrical balance of coming here is too, is that Axis gets stronger in the late game. You have to keep on top of things as allies. You have to keep snowballing, you have to keep progressing, you have to keep pushing. I mean, Soviets in this case do actually have a very late game orientated commander. But again, this is OKW, the ultimate late game specialist.
Yeah, I mean, the OKW is really all about veterancy as well. So all these units that are on the field right now, they're out at a good time. They have a huge opportunity to, grow into very, very potent players in the game. And you'll notice that Jesulin's gone for a very highly mobile army, which gives me the impression that at some point he will be looking to bring out some big flanks against Luvnest.
Big flanks against these Maxims, and he's instead just rushing straight up against one with this. Luke's firing, and that's what they're very good at indeed. The mortar, by the way, has been doing some decent work. It's been peppering the battle group headquarters with rounds.
Yeah, he's doing the right thing with it. I've seen him picking up a couple of models here and there. No squad wipes just yet. Again, tier 3 has just gone up, and he's getting the T-70 out at 17 minutes.
Yeah.
Where is the Katusha here?
You love that. You say that in every Soviet game, but you're right. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, mate.
It just makes sense with the battle grouper there. This fortified position. The Katusha is exactly what he needs. What use is the T-70 going to be against the Puma?
Yeah, the T-70 against the Puma isn't a favourable matchup by any stretch of the imagination. However, T-70 classically on this map's pretty damn good, but it's not the time for it. 17 minutes is rather late, you'd have to say. Big shot in from the Ziskin pushes away the Lukes. It can't linger in this confrontation, so the fuel will stay in his control, and the big mortar round kills 2 Volt squads. They're going to have to retreat to safety there, and the combat engineers, you'll notice, targeted them on retreat. Does not get the kill, however.
ISG now again on the field for Jesulin. We saw the ISG being played from Jesulin earlier, and between the 2 ISGs that he had, they managed to rack up a total of just under 140 kills. So huge plays from the ISG, and Jesulin, of course, leaves them right back at his base just to pick off. They don't really require that much micro from him, so it's a really good way to pick up some extra manpower without having to put any focus into anything. It's one of the key things in this game, is trying to maximize the potential of units like that, because you really want units like that are performing on your behalf.
Very interesting now is going to be the next techie choices from both players. We're coming to a critical point in this game. We've already seen that Luvnest has gone for a T-70. If Jesulin has got a lot of pooled resources right now, if he goes for something like the Schwer and then a Panzer IV, he could really put Luvnest in some dire straits indeed.
Yeah, I'm still wondering what this T-70 is going to be doing. In fact, it has just retreated back to the base, which I don't know why that's just happened.
Luvnest has got a nice mine just south of that bush. Oh, Zis goes in. By the way, the Fallschirmjägers died, seemingly. Can you confirm where they died? Have a look around the map for me, please.
I will try and check this out for you. I imagine it's down to mines, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it will be down to mines. It will have been a garrison and a wipe like we've seen in so many other games, but it's so difficult to pick up on a cast because it happens in a microsecond.
No, I'm not really actually seeing that anywhere, if I'm honest.
Some people called it out in chat. I did hear something died, so I just trust it. We'll have to, on the YouTube video, I'll maybe annotate that if you're watching, and we'll see.
I mean, Fals came out 2 minutes ago, so they were on the field temporarily. I don't know where they died. I don't think it would have really... it's difficult to say.
They're just such a squishy unit as well.
I mean, maybe that was what was the church, because there's a mine at the front of the church. You can see the building has been blown up. That's probably the unit that you got confused with dying earlier, because they came out instantly. So it could have been that. They would have come out of that front door on the church if they had. I don't actually remember there being a mine placed there by Luvnest, but that's probably where it was.
Possibly indeed. Got a nice mobile army from Jesulin now, as rightly said by Dan, but he's not really being that mobile right now because of the immense support weapon usage by Luvnest. So I think the obvious teching decision, now that he has a Raketenwerfer to stem the tide of any tank assault, would be the Stick of Zeus. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think it's a very, very good choice, and he's also got, it would be a heavy mechanized build, but I think that would suit him very, very well right now. Just have a look at how much manpower, like, core army and support weapons he's got on the field.
The great thing about heavy support weapon players, if they're not challenged and you don't get up in their face, they can suppress you, they can keep you at bay, and Luvnest actually doesn't lose that much manpower. Panzer IV did just take a shot. Like damaged engine as well. God, this Panzer II Luke's is getting right battered. Here comes the T-70 with the kill. Just to confirm, vehicle destroyed 1. Luke's goes down. That is very good for Luvnest and very bad for Jesulin.
And IL-2 has just been called in as well on the battle grouper, so this is going to put a lot of pressure on Jesulin right now. Nearly loses the ISG in the first round as well.
Does he have line of sight
though?
though? He needs to jump in that garrison and get line of sight so he can really make this these flying tanks work for him.
AT gun just hit the Puma as well, so that's negated for a little bit of time whilst the T-70 does some damage.
This T-70's actually been quite good. It is due to the nature of this map. One of the few maps you could bring on a T-70 so late and make it work. Oh, big skill plane smashed into that Maxim there, the stolen Maxim, killing it instantly. A harken back to mid-2015 when they were as overpowered. It's very lucky now, though, for that to happen.
Wow, and an IS-2's just hit the field for Luvnest as well. He planned the CPs perfectly in this game. IS-2's just hit the field, and just look at the manpower on the field that's just changed hands so quickly. It's going to be a real effort for for Jesulin to pull back into this now. 3 units, 1 Puma.
It's going to be difficult. Just very quickly for people watching, if you're watching this and saying esports, that ability of the kamikaze dying plane destroying things has actually been nerfed heavily to try and make the game a little bit less random. It's very lucky nowadays to see it wipe, in this case, a machine gun. It used to be that it was a falling nuke from the sky. Thankfully, it's not quite that bad anymore. Conscript.
Yeah, you barely ever see that happen anymore, so...
IS-2 in a dominant position. Gonna smash a big round into the Puma. 122mm of fury from the Soviet heavy tank. Pintle mount pops out of the turret, takes a shot against the stern pioneers, all the while the main gun rallying on the Puma. What is Jesulin doing here?
Well, I think he's on his last legs at the moment, trying to get some shots. In fact, he calls in the tower straight away. I mean, that really was an insane push from Luvnest. That 23 minutes win in the finals, first match, takes a lot of VPs with him as well, 305. So Jesulin's going to have to pull off something pretty good to get faction selection in a third game right now.
That takes Luvnest, the big German, up to 1-0 in this best-of-3 final series. Just updating the score now. Ready for that all-important second game. I mean, they may have jumped straight back into it. Jesulin's the kind of guy that wants to adapt, wants to jump straight into that second game, so he could indeed be seeing that.
Oh, arm's killing me.
Your arm's killing you? I mean, is that something like Doctor Strangelove, where his hand tries to kill him?
No.
It's just in a lot of pain.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's from clicking all day and so.
It's the bad posture of casting for 9 hours.
No, it's alright.
Are you sure? Are you okay to continue?
Of course.
Look at your face. You look so happy for somebody that's been casting for a very, very long time.
I am happy. The thing is like, that was a really good game. I did not think, it went so bad for Luvnest at the start. Such a great recovery though. A pleasure to see him use that. Again, we don't always see things like that. The planes and stuff falling in those positions, but even still though, even without that plane going down, Jesulin had lost that game,
He
or
had.
had taken a big hit. For what it killed, it really made no difference. There was nothing that was going to stop that push from the IS-2 rolling in and wiping everything. So, oh, I need to update the Moobot. I'll do that right now.
Good work, Dan. You've been on that Moobot stuff all day. I feel like a real caster now that I've got a Moobot that works, and it's all thanks to you and your. By the way, the two things me and Dan want you to do. You can. Let me just quickly see if the game is in progress. I need to make sure I'm on that. Yes, it is. Jesulin versus Luvnest game 2. So I'll create an observer party just so we can get on it and get the countdown going, so we can rest easy.
There we go. Anyone wants to know the score? Remember, you can just type !score. Oh, did someone just say giveaway?
Oh yes, you did mention that.
Go on then.
Accept the invite first, please.
One giveaway. Let's do it. Remember to Steam ID.
Yes, good points. I wasn't going to, and then you made me do it.
Just do it. I'm fairly confident it's not, but I just don't want to take the risk, to be honest. Oh, right. Okay.
Well, Luvnest's comments are all nice in this profile, and his aliases all say Luvnest. They don't say nasty things. So I think this is the right guy.
All right, nice one. All right, the raffle is now open. So if you raffled before you heard my voice, that means the raffle hasn't been counted. So raffle again. When should we do the raffle? Do you want to do it before the finals and wait a game, or?
Well, if Luvnest wins, you're not going to have a chance. So you best do it now, in my opinion.
All right. Okay. Yep. We'll wait a minute and we'll do it now then. No worries. Can we please hear Sherman on the run?
I'll sing it for you. Sherman on the run. Chased by a Sturmgeschützgun. Outmatched by a Sturmgeschützgun. I can't pronounce it. I do a good Imperial Dane. You ready? Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to an exciting propaganda cast. It's me, your host, Imperial Dane, the master of propaganda, the Führer of the underworld. Sorry, I can't remember the rest.
That's actually really good.
Yeah, no, I was considering doing a parody of him. In fact, I went so far as asking him in Steam if I could do a propaganda cast parody. Right. He said yes, but begrudgingly, so I sensed that I would probably... it wouldn't be very nice for him. I once did a TFN one, though. That was a little bit funnier. Okay, right. How's your poll going?
It's a raffle, not a poll, but it is about to be drawn in a second. Which commanders are we giving away? Well, we did have a choice between Overwatch and Firestorm.
Oh, yeah.
Lord Bulbul is going to obviously get the first pick of that. Then there was another winner who's going to get second pick. That was Fier 375. And anyway, this is the third one. So with this one, we have got, I can't remember which way around it was. I think it's 2 Firestorms, 1 Overwatch. And then there is the opportunity to have a purchase commander depending on what the player from last week wants. So we'll see. And I'm going to draw it right now as we are just loading into the game. The winner for this raffle is... It's loading. Oh no! The winner is Inglorion, but he's not following your channel.
What a douche.
What a douche.
He don't deserve no commanders.
So it's up to you, AE. It's your channel.
If he subscribes to me on YouTube, because that's what I actually care about, he's got like 1 minute to do this. If he does it and I see the email come in saying, what's his name?
Inglorion. But he may have a different subscriber name. You don't know that, so...
Nah, he's just got to cover himself. Nah, give it to somebody else, mate. It's the only fair way.
Okay, well, we did state this before. You do have to be a follower of the channel.
No, go on, give it to Inglorion. I feel sorry for him now.
You feel sorry for him now?
It might be like a small kid with no money, you know.
Is Inglorion even in the chat right now?
Yeah, we can't rig it, mate. You got to give it him, even if he's not a follower. Just do it. It's fine.
All right, okay. We'll announce him as the winner in chat. Maybe he'll follow you as a pity follow.
I don't need your pity. Oh yes. Now the raffle has finished. Let's do our own plugs. So this is Stormless. And somebody says AE's decisiveness strikes again. But sometimes you have to admit when you're wrong. Sometimes you have to change what you're doing. You can't just be pig-nosed and stubborn in life. Is my way of looking at things, and it gets me into some strange situations. What can I say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to have courage of convictions. That's how it works. Well, why are we talking about philosophy, Dan? We've got 30 seconds till the game 2 of an awesome final. Very quickly though, thank you for watching, everybody. Stormless wants you to go to his Twitch and follow it because that's what he likes. I want you to go to my YouTube channel and subscribe to me because that's what I like. Don't shake your head.
How
I
did
know.
you know? Oh, you're watching this live, not on a delay. Damn
Yeah.
it! I almost got away with it too.
If it wasn't for my pesky eyes or whatever. Right. Okay, we're just gonna go into this now. We've done all the plugs. We've given somebody a prize. He wasn't even a follower, but whatever. Right. Okay. Your turn to intro, actually, Dan.
All right, well, hello everybody, and welcome to the second game of the Grand Finals ESL EU Week 3. And we have had a pretty incredible day today in terms of games. We've seen some fantastic things, and as a result of all of these games, we are treated to an epic matchup: Luvnest against Jesulin. First game, of course, won by Luvnest, and check this out: Jesulin playing the exact same commander that Luvnest picks, and Luvnest has gone straight into Ostrupen. Strange picks, good picks. What do you think?
Well, it's all about how they play him, as usual. Ostrupen was all about map capping. Sorry.
Well, we wait for AE to cough there. I think what he's trying to say is the Ostrupen are going to be able to dominate and occupy a number of key strategic buildings straight away. But does he know, of course, that Jesulin has gone straight into Armored Assault? We'll find out later on. But either way, he's going to have to deal with this now.
God, that was a nice coughing fit. The Ostrupen have done very well so far in branching out. 2 of them in total. The first one's gone. Is going to go towards the munitions cut off straight away. He's also gone for the fuel with the Pioneers. He did build an extra one in total, so it's very clear to see that Luvnest in this situation is going for a capping heavy build, and it's all going to be about map control for the German. Jesulin is going for also an infantry based build with his 3rd conscript teching, and he himself, Dan, has gone for that same armoured assault tactics as Luvnest did in the first game.
I don't know if that's true, actually, in this game. I don't think Luvnest did that. Luvnest went for the Maxim builds. He only produced 2 conscripts in that previous game until quite late in. So
Yeah, but he went for armoured assault tactics as his
he did
doctrine.
go for Armored Assault straight away, and he is playing a more familiar build with Armored Assault of the conscripts. It'd be interesting to see if we go Engineers or Cons again. Here we go, 4th Con building, so a massive telltale sign. Jesulin should give the game away straight away to Luvnest if Luvnest spots the massive conscripts on the field. It should be very, very clear, and we'll see how Luvnest decides to counter that. Of course, my wonder is, what teching are we going to see from Jesulin after this? Will we see that same heavy tier 2 support build? And of course, support weapons on Samoski are very, very good in this environment.
They are. It's because of that peninsular land in the centre between the Ice Lake and the Ice River. It's heavily condensed fighting, as always on Semois. The most played Company of Heroes map overall, when both games considered. It's been the site of millions of deaths, Dan. It's a small French, well, in this case, Russian village.
Yeah, it's almost brings a tear to your eye, doesn't it?
It does indeed. Ostrupen are gaining benefits of being behind medium cover here, firing on the combat engineers, surely about to push them away. Elsewhere, you've got a pitched engagement with Ostrupen versus conscripts, both in garrison. Fortunately for us, this is a final, because if this was a usual game, it wouldn't be exciting. Because it is a final, of course, it is everything that matters.
Yeah, I actually, looking at this with the Ostrupen, great play, by the way, with the Ostrupen, really claiming some vital buildings there, pushing off the engineers. Conscript's going to have a real hard time dealing with the Ostrupen in all of these buildings. They have to be, they have to have some kind of support on the field, maybe with a mortar that comes out or something. But of course, this commander option doesn't allow for that. Luvnest is about to lose an Ostrupen.
To die. Surely, yes, indeed. The Moz and the Gats get the kill, get the pickup. And that is a 200 manpower loss for Luvnest in the early game.
Jesulin's great benefit here is that he's actually gone for Molotov straight away, and it means that the Ostrippen don't have the effect that Luvnest was expecting. You know, he's got a lot of map control. Fortunately, MG is here to cover him a little bit, but Molotov's a really, really good early decision there.
They were indeed, and it is all about, as Dan rightly mentioned, the cover dynamics of that. Also, an MG42 out for Luvnest is a target for Molotov should they flank it. So it's going to be arguably in the teching favour of Jesulin for the meantime.
Yeah, it's good. He's done good to keep him off all the points and stuff, and Luvnest trying to get that mean, thin S-mine patch over again. Needs to be careful standing in there, though, because obviously the right trigger of those mines could relay into these engineers.
What a great little usage of the S-mine there by Luvnest. He actually built it under fire. He's put a little patch up there, and all that's going to do is delay Jesulin from getting his cut off and getting access to his own fuel that he currently capped, and indeed, in the long run, his munitions. So great play by Luvnest there.
Jesulin's putting a lot of trust in this 4 conscript build. It doesn't look like it's really paying off for him just yet. Of course, Ostrippen very easy for Luvnest to replace. Do we have a battle phase 1? I think that's going up right now, so we will see tier 2 from the Oster coming in fairly shortly. And I wonder what's going to be going in from that. I wonder if we're going to see Panzerschrecks, Panzer Grenadiers come out onto the field. Might be pretty nice at helping to deal with any of these conscript rushes and defending the MG there.
In the long run, he's going to need Pack 40s, I presume. In the meantime, yeah, he's got a choice to make. A half-track would be nice, though, with Ostrupen, because the rapid reinforcement and 16 manpower cost per model is really good to use with a half-track. You can really soak up a lot of damage in the centre and push your opponent off the map. Big retreat here. Got the Pioneers on the conscripts causing a retreat. There's a little bit of fire on retreat from the Ostrupen, of which another squad occupies the house.
Yeah, I don't really feel like Jesulin has anything to get past this at the moment. 4 conscripts, 2 engineers. Not really sure exactly what this is all about right now.
It's it's interesting for sure. He has had to get a minesweeper on one of the combat engineers. Sorry, Karen?
Sorry, just looking at where Jesulin built tier 2. I'm guessing when those engineers came on, they built it straight away. Just seemed like a slightly off-par place.
Yeah, I guess he needed to build it with that combat engineer because he's suffering for capping power right now. So as soon as the second built combat engineer came on the field, he built it as soon as humanly possible. It is an interesting choice for sure, and you don't often see that, but that is these players playing literally for every second of time they can get. It's such a brutal contest between the two.
Definitely, and this really comes down to how Jesulin can start to reclaim some territory right now. He needs to get hold of territory so he can get that tier 3 out. A tier 3 now, if he can get anything out early enough, possibly even look at a quad cal, but he doesn't have the munitions for it at the moment. It's going to have to be the T70 in order for him to start getting some map control and take this game back. But you know, that being said, he has forced Luvnest off out of the middle, so he should be able to start reclaiming a little bit of ground. It's just, you know, what has he got to back this up? You know, he's getting flamed out of buildings. The Ostrupen are starting to gain veterancy. Going to struggle to make it against the MG gun, and now we've got Panzer Grenadiers coming up as well too, which we spoke about before. So
look at Jesulin as well. He's building a Zis gun in preemption of a tank coming out. There's nothing coming out. It's Panzer Grenadiers. So Panzer Grenadiers are going to have the SGGs firing, and that is just going to ensure that Luvnest has a superiority in firepower for the time being. And although Jesulin,
yeah, I would have to say, in terms of game mechanics, though, you know, we're coming up to 9-10 minutes of gameplay now. He doesn't have any fuel. If Luvnest was to catch him off guard, it would be a really big deal. So he does at least have to cover himself. I think that's a fair thing to do, because if he did get caught off guard, he'd be kicking himself for not having that.
Elsewhere, you've got these Ostrupen push right up to Jesulin's base, not even allowing the Spaniard time to breathe in terms of fuel. And I think Jesulin had to get a Zis at some point. I'm not calling him out for that, because he's not had fuel control. But Luvnest isn't actually building anything in armour, so he's actually countering Jesulin at every step currently.
Yeah, unless he had I mean, it's strange actually. Let's just think. You do make a good point there. Is that Loveness does have radio intercept? Sorry, Jesulin has radio intercept. So Jesulin should kind of know maybe
Yes,
that
he does.
that isn't the case. I'm actually looking at it from a different angle that, you should really always aim to have an AT gun out by this time of the game just to stop any kind of medium play. But, he does actually have that intel, that is a good point. He has this intel at his disposal. He knows that there's nothing on the field yet. He's going to know there's a battle phase tech, and that's probably about it.
He doesn't have 18 aids, I suppose, so he did need a somewhat comfort blanket against any form of anti-tank right now. It could have been anything, really. An MG squad now coming onto the field, so he's now trying to focus on support weapon play and try and claim some of the sense, because he is suffering for victory points, finding himself in much the same situation he was in the first game.
Yeah, he is. He's getting a couple of good pushes, but he is getting returned every time by Luvnest. And Luvnest actually does a very sensible thing. He retreats a lot of his army when it's necessary, and he just recoups and makes a very, very good strategic push out in all areas. Do you know what I mean? So he's doing the right thing there. What I really like about Luvnest is that he knows when it is a good time to do these retreats. He knows when it's a good time to just save everything and give it another stab. And every time he outplays Jesulin when he does that.
You've started saying it the same way I do.
Have I?
With a j instead of a s.
Oh God!
I know, it's contagious, sorry.
Jesulin.
Second Panzer Grenadier comes out, so he's using elite troops very expensive elite troops, I might add, to complement the very cheap Ostrooper. And it's a very nice dynamic. Love to see it, and I love to see how things complement each other in this game.
Interesting engagements going on everywhere at the moment. One of these players is going to slip up at some point. There's a lot to keep hold of right here. Another very, very strong push from Jesulin. There's the amount of manpower that he's getting on the field right now. Second squad of Panzer Grenadiers have hit the field too from Luvnest. So again, very, very potent at helping to deal with these conscripts.
This early passage of play, the first 10 minutes, has been arguably a lot like Come Heroes 2 in the early days, with low lethality on infantry, causing units to kind of be in a very slow killing match. But now the STGs are on the field. There's a lot of STGs on the field from the Panzer Grenadiers. It's going to change that dynamic drastically. That's why Maxims have now come out for Jesulin and hopefully try and stem the tide.
Yeah, Maxim's a pretty good choice, I think, right now. He does need to make sure that he doesn't spend himself too late. But the famous thing with Jesulin is that I bet he doesn't even go for a tier 3 or tier 4. This is so typical of him, really. Is that I see Jesulin do it in so many times. He is a call-in freak.
You can't use the F word. Mozindagat's targeting the Pioneers on retreat. Elsewhere in the north, next to that fuel, conscripts possibly going down. They did get a Molotov in on the Ostrooper, and they have to retreat thanks to Maxim fire. And look, Jesulin's now starting to get back into things on 290 victory points remaining.
Great telemine just got laid by Luvnest right on the entrance to for vehicles to come across the bridge on the western side of the map. So that is probably going to claim the life of any medium tier vehicle. But I mean, again, I can't see it happening. We always see games where Jesulin's floating like 7k fuel.
So he will get some vehicle at some point, of course, and when it does, it's going to meet a fiery end, unless it's anything like T-34 at least. And of course, he's in call-in meta, isn't he? So it likely will be a heavier vehicle. It will survive the teller, and it'll tell Luvnest exactly what's happened, and that he's got time to prepare for the imminent arrival of that said vehicle.
Another AT gun for Jesulin. He must be expecting some kind of tech here. I think he can probably see that the Battle Phase 2 Tier 3 structure's going up right now. So chances of perhaps, this as well, what do we expect is going to come out here?
It's a difficult one to call. I mean, he does have a few things at his disposal. I think every vehicle from that tier is actually useful. It's one of the most beautifully developed tech structures in the game. It took a while for Relic to get there. But now that the Stug has anti-vehicle... Oh god, combat engineer possibly dying. No, the Panzer Grenadiers did not target him. Mercy shown there, just about. They were instead trying to get rid of this Maxim that will start firing. No, the Panzer Grenadiers get around the arc of fire. It's a hard retreat for the Maxim now, and they're losing models. They can't pick it up. They know that that Maxim's worth more than each individual human life there, seemingly, and they really want to take it home, and they can't. Ostrup and get the second Maxim.
That was such good play from Luvnest there, really, really good. And I kind of got lucky that the Ostrupen took out the gunner to stop the suppression fire starting up as quick as it does, but really, really played that well. Good initiative.
It is the penalty the Maxim suffers for having such quick aim to fire. When they do get caught out of, those 6 men soon become a lot less.
Yeah, they really, really do.
And of course the original Maxim crew actually have received accuracy issues with being support weapon members, so they can really go down rather quickly. I know it's a 6-man squad and all. So in terms of overall map, let's get the tap map up right now, because it's a patchwork, a medley of activity in the centre.
Yeah, it really, really is. You know, Luvnest hasn't had both of his fuels for quite a portion of the game now, something that Jesulin is really keeping on top of. And, you know, we have to remember, like, just have a look at the builds. Huge infantry builds coming in here, but Luvnest has matched it very well with the 2 Panzer Grenadiers. Panzer IV is about to hit the field fairly soon. It does, in my opinion, look like Jesulin's just saving up for off-map call-ins, and I think this is going to be something that Luvnest can really use to his advantage. I mean, bear in mind, you know, if Luvnest can take hold of a fuel, we could, sorry, or even a munitions, you know, with a nice munitions drop, Shreks on both of the Panzer Grenadiers. The IS-2 is so weak to Panzer Shreks. You know, it's probably one of the best ways to take down an IS-2, and so much potential
for people
for
watching. Of course, this commander did used to be, did used to have T-3485s as a call-in. Now you do have to get Tier 4. Because I realise we've got a lot of players here that might be casual players that might not be aware of that change. So it is Jesulin. If he doesn't get one of his tier structures up, he's going to be pretty much stuck with an IS-2. And he's only on 7 command points now, so he's roughly just over half the way there. So it would be a very risky strategy indeed.
Let's not also forget that there is still an unscouted telemine on the entrance to Jesulin's base, so when this IS-2 does come in, it's going to be instantly vulnerable. Any kind of decent flank from this Panzer IV, you know, hopefully by that time it will have some veterancy too. It's going to spell trouble for Jesulin, unfortunately.
Maxim in a weak state here, gets targeted by the Panzer IV. Unfortunately, it does actually set aim to fire. Now it's got to retreat. Panzer IV blocking its way. Another Maxim probably going to go down here. Elsewhere, you've got an engagement with Pioneers. Maxim does indeed get taken out. Oh, and
Jesulin very quickly reduced to hardly anything there.
He's building another conscript. He's got his 2 Ziskuns coming into position. And he's just in a very strange position right now. And you called it very well. I mean, he hasn't even teched any tier structure. The Panzer IV is going to be largely, if it steers clear of the Ziskuns, largely unmitigated.
Yeah, I mean, basically the main point of this strategy is to throw out as much infantry as possible, something that you have seen Jesulin do. And the idea is you try and get as much experience as possible. But if we actually look at what's going on, Luvnest is the one with the more experience, because he's had a lot more infantry to actually take down and deal with. So, you know, actually, building all this infantry has actually benefited Luvnest way more than it has Jesulin.
Great thing about Ostrupen is they don't give much experience when they die. They still gain experience when they kill. So it is a good dynamic there, and there's so many facets of common heroes to be aware of, but different units have different amounts of experience given when they die. So Ostrupen actually are quite good, even though they die quite a lot, at stopping your opponent from gaining too much veterancy or experience.
The benefits of Ostrupen, I think people are really coming around to. Of course, there's massive benefits to playing with them.
Pioneer with the flamethrower doing excellent damage to the conscript, pushing and strangling Jesulin off the map. Could this be yet again Luvnest getting a dominant win in ESL? 2nd in a row if he does this, 3rd if you count the NA bracket. This could be massive for the German player, and what a great time to have a highlight on the in-game there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the streamer highlight, I think everybody's probably going to go and have a little read of that after this. It's just a superior knowledge and gameplay from Luvnest here. Jesulin, I personally think it's a mistake to play this armored assault thing. It used to work because at this stage of the game, you know, you would start coming up to the T-3485s 18 minutes into the game that was available to you. But, you know, with the restriction to Tier 4 now, Jesulin just didn't go for the tier structures. It's a huge mistake in my opinion because it's so easy for the Austin player to counter a non-Tier 3 build, you know, or a non-any tier build against Soviets.
Have you noticed something about the Maxims, Dan? He's not got a single one left.
Yeah, I mean, well, look how many Maxims Luvnest has. I bet he's in heaven
Yeah.
right now, playing the finals with the strategy. Even as Austin, he's still playing his Maxim spam.
He can't get away from him. I think somebody said that in chat as well. But yeah, he's got his MG42 Vet 2 and then 2 Maxims. I don't think Jesulin stands a chance right now.
Yeah, this build order really hasn't worked for him at the moment. Of course, you know, things can change when the IS-2 comes out, but, you know, we're pushing in 190 VPs now. You know, if Luvnest can make this a triple cap, then we obviously have 3 minutes left of gameplay left at a triple cap. The IS-2 has to seriously overperform right now, and as I say, I think Luvnest just starting to come around with the Stug 3 actually is being built, so this is going to be really, really good to that effect.
Again, people saying DevM question mark in chat. Why are people on about DevM? DevM has said, and he allowed me to say this on stream, next month there will only be one winner kappa. So that's an interesting thing. So we might have a lot more competition next month. It'll be very interesting to see an older player that's been a bit on a hiatus come back into the fray. So,
yeah, and really, really nice to see DevM wanting to take part again.
You know there's money on the line. You know that competition is getting fierce when DevM you know, cocks his head and says, I might get interested, rubs his hands together, and that's ESL for you. It makes medium level players want to be top level players, it makes top level players want to be elite tournament level players, and it brings some of the old top level players back, and everything just gets a hell of a lot more competitive. It's so fun to watch and so fun to see.
Supply drop coming in, by the way, for Luvnest. Luvnest actually preferred to capture the munitions rather than the VP. So this may be what I was talking about earlier. He may actually be going for the Panzerschreck rush here. I think he must have spotted exactly what Jesulin is doing right now. He has to think that the IS-2 is on the cards. So rushing these munitions right here, very, very good idea. It's going to allow him to equip both of his Panzerschrecks with, Panzer Grenadiers with Shreks straight away. And that's going to be probably the best thing for him to start taking down the IS-2 at this point. Even with the Panzer IVs, these are probably better reserved as an anti-infantry role at the moment, and not lent too much into the IS-2s, because even the two of them with a good flank may still run the risk of losing that engagement.
Second Panzer IV on the field just to, you know, add insult to injury.
Yeah, well, they're the perfect combined role, really. They're so good against infantry. They do pull their weight against tanks as well. Of course, with these Panzerschrecks, it's going to be a huge force for Jesulin to deal with.
Do we understand where the dead Panzer Grenadier died? There were 3, there's 2.
I honestly didn't see a third one, actually, if I'm honest.
Oh, my bad. Maybe I was mistaken. Never mind. Okay, let's carry on. This has just been decrewed. Probably going to get either taken or sunk. Which one would you go for in this situation?
I hope it gets sunk, if I'm honest.
Like hold me, Jack. Don't let go. Kind of situation.
This one crawling away. Yeah, that's
yes.
the one.
That's Jack. He's sick of Rose in the situation. Oh no!
Nearly. I mean, one of the guys may even just sink into that little void there. Who knows?
He really wants it to happen. It's not sinking though. Maybe we have to sing. Here now, my heart will go on. No, it's not happening. Never mind.
Anyway.
Panzer IV retreating out of there. He does sense that this has been retaken. Didn't manage to sink it. Elsewhere, he's got this low health Panzer IV, still doing a lot of damage. Look at that Maxim right on the bridgehead. I'm not even going to be able to see that tower go off, Dan.
I'm fully expecting right now. We're about to come up to the IS-2 right now. This is Jesulin's one chance to get back into this game. There is only one viable route that Jesulin can take. Right, well, maybe two. He could go over the ice on the very left-hand side, drive up to the VP, try and take it from there. But of course, that has been heavily mined now. The second he tries to break through this bridge, you know, this kind of narrow choke point to get to this Maxim, he's gonna hit a telemine. It's gonna be engine damage. You know, we've got 2 Panzer IVs hitting the field now. in place. By the way, of course, he switched
Oh, and there
just
you
right.
go. Luvnest for the third tournament win in a row. First week he won NA, second week he won EU, and here he is again, beating Jesulin in massive fashion. That was a real big win for the German there, Dan.
Yeah, definitely. Do you know what? Massive credit to Loveness because he has come so. He really is peaking as a player at the
Oh,
moment. People in chat saying some mean things like, "Oh, Jesulin used to be good."
is not.
Jesulin is good,
He's
man.
amazing. Coming here into
Jesulin,
such a hard game, and Jesulin is one of the best in its history. It's
Jesulin is really good. Loveness is just incredible at the moment. So, and you know what? It's not even a micro thing. Do you know what I mean? It's just the build knowledge at the moment.
his
I kind of feel like missing stuff.
strategies. Yeah, he's getting hard countered at the moment. It must be said. His micro is still there, but he needs to hashtag adapt, go back to the drawing board, and analyze what he can do against fellow top level players that will get him back on points, and he needs to have a few game plans at his disposal. If my opponent counters me with this, I will do this. If my and it's easy for me this as a rank 500 player to tell Jesulin one of the all-time best, but as a caster, and I'm sure as my fellow caster Dan will agree, we're seeing that Jesulin, in our opinion,